Today we are going to be making a prop sledgehammer. Alright, so first thing I had to do is I had to freehand the head of this hammer, because I just took some reference images and then drew what I felt like was a good size. Then I went ahead and took this thicker knee pad foam that I found at Harbor Freight. I went ahead and used it to cut out the base of the head of the hammer, but it wasn't quite thick enough, so I take two regular little floor mat pieces and glue them on either side of it. I glue them on either side of the really thick knee pad piece to get it to the right dimensions of what I needed to be. And in this video I'm just using hot glue to keep it really simple and save time because, well, I was out of contact cement, so. So here I am running these pieces that I just glued together on the belt sander just to even them up and get them flush and smooth. And then I just take the Dremel and clean up the little cuts I made, because I took my box cutter and just cut out a little chunk of the foam to shape the hammer. And so I just took the Dremel and sanded that to smooth out those cuts and finalize the shape of it and get it shaped the way, you know, I want it to look. Again, I take two pieces of 5mm. And I take some hot glue them onto either end of the cap, and then I cut them flush with the hammer, and then take it, smooth it out a bit, and then come back and give it more of a dome, or not dome, but more of a beveled edge, like it has a slight slant, like a real sledgehammer has. Like it goes from that octagon shape to a circle with a slant, and I just tried my best to replicate that. Then I just heat seal the head of the hammer just a bit. And then here I take my spackle and just go ahead and get those main seams. The main seams where, you know, it's two different pieces of foam, or three different pieces of foam coming together to be one big block. Those are the main seams you really have to worry about. I go ahead and try to clean up the seam around where the 5mm piece meets the rest of the hammer. I go ahead and clean that up a bit too, just to try to make it a little bit more pretty. And then this is actually really simple. I'm not doing nothing super fancy. I'm just doing something really simple, and I'm taking the PVC and I am just twisting it, okay, I guess you could say I'm still technically drilling, but I just take the PVC and I twist it while pushing against the foam, and it slowly just cuts out a perfect circle. And what I like about this is, it's cutting out the perfect circle, the exact diameter of the pipe I'm using, therefore it's already a fairly snug fit. And so you just do that till you get all the way through the other side. But one thing you want to make sure is you want to make sure you keep twisting it, you know, straight. You want to make sure you keep it straight when you twist it, because you don't want the handle to sit on there crooked. So you just got to make sure you keep it straight. And then, you know, my favorite part is now I got this cool little foam Cheeto, EVA foam Cheeto. Let's get that out of here. And as you can see, I was really proud of how this was looking, so I had to play with it for a minute. And I don't know why, but once I got to this stage, only thing I could think was John Henry. That's what this was making me think of at that point. But I'm really liking how it is turning out so far. It's looking really good to me. Alright, so then right here I'm just taking I'm just taking 4 strips of EVA foam just to cover the handle, and I just cut them out, and then I go ahead and sand up the pipe. That way the hot glue will stick to it a little bit better. And then I take the pieces of foam and glue them to the pipe. And so here I'm just like kind of filling the gaps a little bit, just making stronger connection point between the foam and the PVC, so I'm getting the little corners. And then I don't show it, but I do go and I take the belt sander and I sand the foam on the belt sander to make it flush with the PVC. I cut it a little bit wider. I cut the foam a little bit wider, that way I can come back and sand it, and now it's flush with the PVC. So it's all even. Okay, so now I'm taking the 5mm foam and I'm gonna cut out, you know, the whatever shape it is to the what I got for the handle, and then I'm just gonna take that and I'm gonna glue that onto it. And now since I went back and sanded it to where it's all flush, it's just gonna glue right on there with no problem. And it's just gonna work. And then right here I'm just taking like a little oval cutout that I'm gluing to the top of the hammer to be like, you know, the wood, like the handle going up through the hammerhead and being wedged on it to where, you know, the hammer stays on it. So that's all that is, just the hammerhead. And then here we are. You know, I've talked about this before, it's Mod Podge. You go ahead and just paint a couple layers on it, and then, you know, you're good to go. That's for the head though. Alright, now when we get to the handle, I'll do something a bit different. Now that we're on the handle, I'm doing 2 to 3 coats still, but I'm leaving those coats really thick, and I'm going in long strokes. Like I'm giving it its own wood grain texture. So I won't stop. I'll run all the way up and down the handle with long strokes to give it this like simulated wood texture look. And then when I come back and paint the handle, I do the same thing with the brown paint. I just keep like long strokes, and I just keep adding it and filling in like the little spots that don't quite catch. And you just keep long strokes to keep that wood grain, like to keep it looking like wood grain. It's very simple, but like it actually does a lot as far as the look of the prop. And then so now I'm just gonna paint the head black, which was actually fairly easy because it was black foam and then some dark gray foam. So I think it was just like 2 coats of black, and it was dark enough for me. And also, don't forget to paint the little nub that's on the top of the hammer, because that's supposed to be wood too. So just don't forget to paint that as well. And then here I just take some spray paint, spray it on a little piece of scrap material, and then I took an old sock and I just used it to run across the edges of the hammer to give it that like used, worn look, like the paint's chipping off. And so you just do that, and then, you know, you're done. You have a sledgehammer. And that is how you can make a simple sledgehammer. I did this one for my friend Jordan. He's actually behind the camera holding the lights at the moment. This is something he asked for. I'm not quite sure what he wants it for, but he asked for a sledgehammer, and I thought it, you know, might be a simple, easy prop to pump out. It wasn't too hard. I did it in like a day and a half, so it was really quick, easy, and fun actually. Like I tried new things. Like as you'll see, I used, you know, PVC for the handle instead. That was something different for me. And just the like completely freehanding the cuts and curves on the hammerhead. It was fun. I like how it turned out. Looks really good in my opinion. I think it looks great, especially with that slight like silver weathering. It like really brings out the detail, and I think it makes it look really good. So yeah, the end.
I think this is really cool. Thank you.